episode of the Book Bite. Wendy and I are going to be reviewing the Twilight series, which is kind of obvious because pretty much everyone's read it by now. But, you know, I know some people haven't, my sister included. She's working on it, but she's a slow reader. The books in the series are Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn. And I'll let Wendy tell you about Twilight right now.
Hey, welcome to the Book Bite. I'm Wendy, and well, this is the Book Bite. Twilight is absolutely amazing. The whole entire series is. I'm just going to talk about Twilight right now. My bus driver suggested that I read Twilight. She was always talking about this book, and she's like, vampires, vampires, and I wasn't into vampires then, which is weird because I totally am now. So she was like, Twilight, Twilight, every day. She would read the book while we were waiting for everybody to get on the bus at the end of the day when we were going home. And she's like, Wendy, you have to read this book, because she knows I read a lot. And she just kept telling me, she's like, you have to read this book. And finally, I went to the library and I got it. Yeah. So this is my review on Twilight. Bella Swan moves to the small town of Forks to live with her father. She's Swan. I don't think she really wants to go, but she's doing it because she wants her mom to be able to go. But she wants to go out on the road with her new husband. So Bella decides to go and move in with Charlie, her dad. Forks is a really small town, not much going on there, so I think she just starts to be bored all the time, maybe. But on her first day of school, she sees this boy, Edward Cullen, and he's totally repelled by her. Like, she just thinks he hates her, and she doesn't understand how somebody could hate her so suddenly. But eventually, they start talking and they fall in love. This is essentially a romance. People think vampire, oh my gosh, it's gonna be like gory, blood-sucking, all that. There is minimal blood-sucking, I have to tell you. The Cullens are vegetarians. They feed on animal blood instead of human. They don't want to be monsters. They didn't choose this life for themselves, and they just do the best possible to deal with what they have and the best way possible to be the best people, vampires, that they can be. There's a lot of struggles in their relationship. They overcome a lot of obstacles, and one being that Edward craves Bella's blood more than any other human. Bella's suspicious that he isn't human. They end up falling in love. Bella doesn't care that he's a vampire. It's just love conquers all. It's an amazing book. You really need to read it. And that's all I can really say about it. I don't want to give anything away because I really think everybody should read it. It's so good.
The second book in the series, the Twilight series, is New Moon, and Wendy and I both agreed that I should review New Moon because she is not a huge fan of the book. And I think this mostly has to do with the fact that Jacob is a very big character in this book, and he does some things that aren't really acceptable to her or me, but well, she's more opinionated about it, I guess, is the best way to put it. And this one is a bit less lighthearted than its predecessor, Twilight. Unless, of course, you are Team Jacob, which I am not, as you can see. And while it's not my favorite book in the series, it is important to the series as a whole because a lot of things happen that you wouldn't understand fully if the book wasn't. Like, I don't know. you just have to read it, basically. But obviously you have to read Twilight first, or nothing is going to make sense. And the ending is wonderfully written. It's basically how Romeo and Juliet should have ended. And now, here's Wendy with the review of Eclipse, which is the third book in the series.
Eclipse. So, Eclipse is probably my favorite out of the entire series. There's a lot of Jacob, which I hate. Jacob is trying to convince Bella that she's in love with him, but she's not. She loves Edward. Bella's confused, I think, through most of the story. Bella has become best friends with Jacob. God knows why, I don't. But Jacob wants to be more than friends. Bella's made it pretty clear that that's all she wants. Though I do admit she does send him a lot of mixed signals. And there's the whole struggle between Jacob, Edward, Jacob. So Bella's just trying to not lose her best friend, but keeping the one, her true love in her life, and balancing that whole thing out. It's not really working well for her. It gets a little tedious and annoying, and you just want her to be like, stay away from Jacob. Well, me anyway. There's a lot of Team Jacob fans out there. I don't really understand that whole thing, but if that's what you want, that's what you want. But don't hate me because I don't like Jacob. I beg you. And I apologize now for all the comments that I make about him. Basically, it's the whole struggle between Jacob and Edward. Bella's struggling to become a vampire. They have made a deal that after she finishes high school, Carlisle promises that he will change her into a vampire after she graduates. Bella's becoming nervous about that. She's scared. And she knows that that's what she wants is Edward, but she's afraid to become a vampire. And that's understandable. I mean, 3 days of burning pain is, yeah, that's a lot of pain, and eternity, that's a long time. All this, there is Victoria, who has come back to get revenge, because the Cullens killed James, her mate, and she has created a bunch of newborn vampires who are absolutely lethal. Bella actually figures out that Victoria is creating an army to attack the Cullens so that Victoria can kill Bella in revenge against Edward for killing her mate James. So it ends with the vampires and the werewolves forming an alliance, which has never happened before. And there's like an epic battle, and you just have to read it and find out who wins. So that's my review on Eclipse.
And lastly in the series we have Breaking Dawn. It's a very thick book. It is 754 pages. So, you gotta have some time on your hands to read this one. And this book is divided into 3 sections. Books 1 and 3 are narrated, like the other books in the series, by Bella. And book 2 is narrated by Jacob Black. That's all I'm going to say about that. This book throws curveball after curveball, and will keep you reading deep into the night. And, it came out August 2nd of this year, last year, I guess now, which was 2008. And I basically had it read in 2 days. And, I'm not a very fast reader, so this many pages in 2 days was pretty good for me. But I couldn't really put it down, so, And this is probably my second favorite book in the series, which would, Twilight is obviously the first, because that's the one that started it all. And I've only read this one twice, actually, because it is so long, and since I finished it the first time, kind of been busy with school stuff and whatnot. But I'm definitely going to read it again, probably soon. And, this is just a really good book. And thank you for watching our first episode of The Book Bite. We really hope you enjoyed it. So we hope you will continue to support us and watch the book bite. And we'll work out some details later about the next time it'll be on. So you can visit our MySpace, which is myspace.com/bookbites. And we really appreciate that you watched our show. So we'll see you next time.
No truth in you exists.